Hey guys, what's good? Let me pardon my dog if y'all can hear him or hear her. It's not a him. I got two male cats and then I got three female pits, but one of them just snores all the time. Anyhow, we're going to check out this video of Mr. L. Boyd. Are white people tired of black people? Black fatigue has swept America. Let's see what he says and I'll give you my opinion on it and see what the video is about.
Blackness fatigue. The name of the channel that this video is coming from is Wild Bill for America. All right, let's go and jump into this immediately. Blackness fatigue? What does that even mean, bro? Let's check it out.
And honestly, I don't think it's necessary. I'm going to just jump in automatically. With all the illegal border crossings, all the foreigners stacked on top of everything. One, everyone is tired of the government. And, I mean, you got all these illegals coming in, taking resources, getting it for free. And then you're also getting blamed, all the white people, you know, because the colonizers, the white man. Now, look, I'm part Cherokee Indian. So part of my family, they were here before my other ancestors that, you know, came here and got rid of it. You know what I'm saying? Anyhow, you know, so I just think it got to a boiling point. You know, just say for instance, in the past 20 to 30 years, nobody crossed our border illegally. Do I think it would be where we're at today as far as black fatigue? I don't think so. I think it just compounds on top of it. But let's see what the video is about. But that's where I think it's going anyway. That's my overall view.
Blackness.
Oh, and the other thing, because I've seen the video of the guy that supposedly got cancer because he was the one that brought it up, saying whites don't want to live in the ghetto, in the hood. And no. But the thing is, who does? Like, who says, man, I just got to live in the ghetto? No, no one does. People that live there, most of them don't want to be there. Other ones, the main reason they do like being there is to make money and do what they do, but they don't like being there due to the chances of getting shot and whatnot. But let's get back into the video.
Blackness fatigue is setting in. America is exhausted from dealing with the never-ending complaints and ingratitude.
This is exactly what I was thinking it was going to be. Yeah. Okay, so like I said, I'm part Cherokee, but I'm considered white. And now I grew up with blacks. I hung out with blacks. They called us the Oreo because I was the only white dude that sat with them all during middle school. Because we had, in middle school, you got the commons area in the morning. Everyone meets up out there in the front of the school and hangs out. Well, I always sat with my homies I played football with. And it is what it is. But I noticed when we got in high school, man, things changed. Some of the whites turned to rednecks. And some of the whites turned to preps. Like the whites were fractured everywhere. Then you had the skateboarders and all the different little fractions of whites, and then the blacks. My friends, a lot of them, like, we didn't hang out like we did back in middle school. That's one thing I definitely noticed. When we hit high school, you know, of course, there's juniors and seniors there, and they all drug that way. And then you had, it's probably me and like 15 other white dudes. We kind of just hung out together because we didn't necessarily fit in no redneck, no skateboard, none of that. We wasn't rich. We were just us. But I seriously think that if we didn't get our borders flooded with a whole bunch of illegal immigrants, I do not think it would be as bad. But at the same time, the way the school system has indoctrinated everybody, it has actually made it so much worse. If these people only knew what really happened in history, like I'm finding out that Martin Luther King, he was hanging out with communists, that who sat at the front of the bus. She's leaving my brain right now. But she was picked, that was a setup. So it's like a lot of our history, our government has set up or created. And then of course, Up until the Trump administration, the government has definitely been trying to keep us divided so we don't see what they're doing.
Of the black community. Black racism against whites and Asians has reached violent proportions.
One thing I will say, I've seen a lot of videos on it. Like, there was a Hispanic looking kid, I'm not exactly sure what he was. He was one that was in New York wearing a MAGA hat, and the lady chased him off and tried to grab his hat, and she fell face first. But in that conversation, he kept saying, "How can I be racist?" And I so just wish I could have stepped in and been like, just because you're brown doesn't mean you cannot be racist. A lot of these people that are younger, that are not white, automatically assume they cannot be racist because they're not white. I'm sorry, but you can definitely be racist. Definitely. There's some, I can't think of the name of the groups, but there's some black groups out there, like heavy in Florida and in Texas, that are 100% wanting to erase the white people. And someone said it, either it was the Hodge twins or Stevie Knight or it was Officer Tatum. Somebody said black people kill black people at a rate that the KKK only wish they could have. Which that is 1,000% true. Y'all kill more each other at such a high rate in these big cities. The KKK only could have dreamed to have done that. I mean, I ain't seen shit from the KKK. Other than Dave Chappelle. Now that shit was funny. The blind, the blind black KKK member, that was a good one.
And with the help and funding of the Democrat Party, militant black racism is getting worse.
That's exactly, okay, he's exactly on what I just said. There's groups, like I said, in Texas and Florida, and I'm sure they're in other states, but the Democrats are the ones that have been overthrowing governments around the world, and there's some Republicans too. Don't get me wrong, there's some dirty Republicans in there, but they were sending this money, millions upon millions, for ISIS, Al-Qaeda, all of that. Our government was funding that to overthrow stuff and to keep the war machine going so they can make money off of new weapons and whatnot. And this guy just hit the nail on the head. They're also funding the black militant groups.
Worse. Well, here's a wild Bill bullet of truth for America. White Americans are the least racist people in the USA.
They are.
Probably the whole world. We have been non-racist for the last 50 years. But today, the Democrat Party...
Now, I can't say everyone no. This is one thing I so want to get out there. It's not the white rich. It's the rich and elite that have power. That is the ones that are the racists. They're the ones pushing these things to happen. It doesn't matter what color they are. If they're worth millions and billions, they're the ones that you got to watch out for.
The party is using racism as a political weapon.
They are.
White America.
Has anyone noticed? I'm sorry that I keep stopping it, but he's bringing up things and it's hitting me in my mind, and y'all want a reaction, so I'm reacting. But have you noticed that all the Democrat people, like say Jasmine Crockett, just all of them, the ones that step up running their mouth, like Letitia James, Fannie Willis or whatever her name is, they're cannon fodder. It's never a white Democrat stepping up there, putting their face in the public to be a target. It is always, they always push the black ones up there. And then they're going to lose their job or they're going to get arrested. Something's going to happen to them, and then they're just going to replace it with another. Pay attention to that from now on if you can. You'll notice the only one stepping up seems to only be blacks. And then comes out that everything they said is false and that they're breaking laws behind the back. And it's like, why would you step up there and run your mouth? Meanwhile, you're doing exactly like Letitia James. She tried to put Trump under the jail. Come to find out, she's doing it. She's actually doing it. Trump wasn't.
Is exhausted from dealing with blackness that has been coming against them day after day for years. White Americans who have never had a racist thought in their lives are tired of being constantly accused of racism. They're tired of being told that every problem in the black community is the fault of white people, that the massive failure.
Now, one thing that used to get on my nerves, and still does to a degree, they act like I owe them money, which I've never owned a slave. And like I said, I'm part Cherokee. My ancestors, most, they're not here no more. They were eliminated. But I always talk about reparations. I'm sitting there like, yo, I get the hood is not where you want to live. It's not. No one does. But who made it that way? The fact of the matter is, in the beginning, you could pay $10 for your mortgage or your rent. And if something got messed up, you can just get another one. My ex-wife, she got on Section 8. She figured it out. It took her a little while, but once she figured it out, she was able to get whatever she needed. But it's like free housing, free health care, free everything. Men don't get as much. White men definitely don't get as much. That's one thing these motherfuckers just don't realize. Like, to be a white man out there, a lot of people say, oh, white privilege. Okay, so you think I got privilege and I got my job for that, and I'm competing with other white people for all this white privilege. No. I get accused of it, so then you automatically got to work that much harder to even get the job. Anyhow, it is what it is. The way the government did this with the whole hiring people and making it where it's a race thing is bullshit. They're like, oh, gotta have at least 10 black people working for me. That way I got diversity, and they just hire whoever.
Failures of black cities and neighborhoods and families is our fault. This week, some fruitcake politician.
But yet we move out of those neighborhoods, and then if you notice, they slowly but surely, they move out of those areas. They become abandoned because now they're moving out to where the better off or white people are, and then those white people end up moving again. So then these empty buildings just keep spreading and spreading and spreading.
Petition declared that blacks violently attacking Asians is caused by white people.
Oh, okay, wait. Okay, hold on. Wait.
I ain't heard that one yet.
I just wanted to make sure I heard this man out before I said a single thing here, okay?
I didn't do that. I kind of just jumped right in like, bow. My bad, guys.
I can definitely tell you this, like 1,000%, guys. I've been to over 140 countries, all right? I can definitely tell you the places where things were the worst, almost exclusively due to the color of my skin. That was East Asia, okay? And I mean, period. Like, I mean, if you want to get looked at, I mean, I'm not sure that some people think specifically you eat.
See, I haven't ever been outside the country, but I've heard in China it's like that. I don't know if that's what he's calling East Asia. I would assume, but I'm not sure though.
Your mouth, I don't know, but they stare at you while you're eating. I've never seen one of those eat before. That was the type of feeling that I got basically in East Asia. Pretty much all the countries. Name them.
Yeah, I heard like in Switzerland. I want to say it was Stevie Knight. When you like you go to a coffee shop, they all just stand around and stare at you.
Yes. Okay. I can definitely tell you that in the United States of America, kind of because of where I am, where I have been in the country, specifically culturally, I have not experienced much craziness, guys. Like, I hear what everyone says that kind of looks like me, have the same similar skin tone. I just have not experienced these things. I'm not taking away from the fact.
And see, I ain't never been with anyone that has done it, and I've hung out with plenty of white people. I ain't never seen anyone do anything that's racist. No, I haven't.
That you may have, right? But my personal experience would dictate that that's not my American experience, guys, right? Not at all. But again, I grew up very differently than the average person who, let's say, looks like specific.
I got one fly flying around. I tried to shoot him with the water bottle. My bad.
Like me here, guys. I also don't adhere to anything that is culturally considered cool or the norm. Let's say in Black American society. Let's say now, are all Black Americans what we probably run to immediately, guys? Mentally, no, not at all. Because I'm Black American, and I'm not. What is the overall stereotype or perception? Let's say. If we're talking about specifically that ilk, I'm tired of that also. Okay, period. I don't even.
That's exactly what I said. Nobody wants to live in the hood. No one wants to be around people like that. And believe me, there is white people that are hood. Believe me, I grew up in a trailer park. I know.
Like, I am not specifically happy that it exists, guys. I mean, listen, you don't need to be so adversarial, let's say, at all towards each other. That's the reality of the situation here. If that's what he's talking about, I hear him, guys. I hear him. How he's saying it isn't true.
You know, I mean, I'm trying to make YouTube one of my things that I do to make a living because of all the surgeries I've had and plates and screws and everything taken out of my wrist, and I cut half my thumb off. So it makes it a lot harder for me to be able to do a lot of the construction jobs that I mean, I've been a welder and I've been an electrician, and trying to hold nails or staples to, I mean, dude, I got half a thumb, and then my right wrist, I can barely lean it backwards. Anyhow, I mean, honestly, where I was coming from that is, I so wish we could just get rid of the internet and phones, even though that's how I would like to make a living one day, which I hope one day I'll make it. And if you guys please subscribe, I will definitely be reacting to any and everything. Just let me know what you want me to watch, and I will definitely do it.
It's intriguing, let's say, to say the least here. But if that's what he's saying here, bro.
Blacks violently attacking Asians is caused by white people.
Explain that one.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. Who said this whole blacks attacking Asians? One, I didn't know blacks were attacking Asians. Now, I know the blacks and Hispanics, especially in like California and big cities like that, where they live near each other, I know they have a lot of beef and a lot of gang violence going back and forth, which is another reason I think all this illegal immigration, all the people that have been here for the last 20 years that came into this country illegally should be kicked out, and their kids that were born here should be kicked out, because their ancestors didn't go through what our ancestors went through, and they didn't build this country up in any way, shape, or form. Now, yes, Hispanics work. I get that. It's not what I'm talking about. But I do think, at least for the last 10 years, they should all be kicked out. And especially being the birthright thing was just, it was made for slaves to become Americans, not for someone from another country to sneak in to ours, have a baby, and now it's American. That's not what it was written for. It was specifically written for slaves. And yes, there were plenty of white slaves. The people that were slaves is anyone that couldn't beat the people they lived around or beside, and therefore were overtaken. And there's plenty. White people couldn't even go into Africa. We didn't go capture them in Africa. They were bought, because I forget the name of the disease, but there was like a 95 or a 98% chance that the white man would die within a week of going into Africa just due to diseases alone. So it was the big African tribes took over the smaller ones and then sold them. And the thing is, why so many like Muhammad Ali and all them become Muslim, it blows my mind, because the Arab lands, they bought like 80% of all African slaves. So you're going to become a Muslim, which Muslims is who bought 80%. America only had, like, I think it was 20%, maybe. I don't even know if it was a full 20. And then on top of that, a lot of black, or not a lot, but the wealthy black people, they owned black slaves. Yeah. So it wasn't just whites owning blacks. That's not how it went. Whites were slaves too. Asians were slaves. Sorry, I
White
won't
people do
interrupt
or
again.
say they are slandered as villains by blacks who are determined to punish white Americans simply for being white.
The thing is, even if it was strictly whites owning blacks way back 200 years ago, 100 years ago, whatever, I didn't own any. I shouldn't have to pay for it. And on top of that, like, you know how many people I know that have Indian in them? No Indian should have to pay reparations. Indians should get paid reparations if that's how we're going to play this. There's a lot of black people that got Cherokee and other tribes in them, and there's a lot of white people. Because I got Cherokee and I got oh God, it just left my brain. It was from the Lumbee Indian. Anyhow, besides the point. Let's go.
They are unappeasable. Now, millions of immigrants came here from England, Poland, Italy, South America, Vietnam, Russia.
Right.
They came from all around the world, and they were dirt poor when they arrived.
Yep.
Right.
But they worked hard and became successful and rich.
Yep.
Right. I'm glad you said he pointed out came, not were brought. There's a slight difference in the argument here. I hear what he's trying to say. Hey, listen, these people came here. They were poor. They
made it.
live in their own specific American dream, but that's not generally the case for many black Americans. Specifically where they are, like coming from the descendants of the people that they, right? Like understand, like for the most part, a genetic memory can kind of exist because you're going to raise your kids with how you know, right? And unfortunately, since the poorest group in the United States of America are black Americans, imagine.
But you know why that is, right? You know, in the 1950s, the black Americans had a better marriage rate than whites. They did. They were having a better family, neighborhood. They didn't rob and steal. They wasn't doing that in the 50s. Then the government decided to step in and make it to where the black man couldn't be in the house. And if he wasn't in the house, they would basically pay for her housing, therefore breaking their house up. Now, here's what I'm scared of. I mean, not that I'm scared of it. Say everyone from now on, they actually get married before they have kids. How is that black man going to know how to raise his child? Because his dad wasn't with him. More than likely, not all. I mean, my dad was there for most of my childhood. Then it kind of changed, and then my mom and dad got a divorce. But anyhow, my point is, the government stepped in and screwed up a whole bunch, and they made it horrible. So now you got to think, you got 4 generations, 5 generations, where a lot of them didn't have their dad in the house in order for the government to give them money. And I've seen Stevie Knight, I've seen Officer Tatum, and someone else say it. They're emotional because women run off the emotion. So if a woman is raising you, you're going to pick up that trait of being more running off the emotions and not thinking. Because sometimes, man, you just got to do what's best for everybody, even though it's not going to be as good for you, instead of letting your emotions take control, and then you make decisions off of that. It always goes sideways.
Imagine how households are, for example. Right, the grandmother is still alive. The grandmother remembers their grandmother. Right, their grandmother remembers their grandmother. And guess what? They all taught themselves over the last 150 years. It's the same. It's a cycle. Right. Like I mean, poverty for the most part is something that absolutely can be attributed specifically to a mentality at times.
Right, and then the government steps in and takes out the dad. Like, do you know, like, how big of a shock that had to be to go from where your race is doing better than the majority race, which was the whites, as far as staying together, not getting divorced, and then the government steps in and basically overnight strips the man out of that house, because the automobile sectors, they told him, hey, how about you ain't got to come into work no more, but we're still going to pay you. Oh, that sounds great. Then they made it to where it's like, all right, well, he can't be at the house. You got to be, a single woman living on your own with a child, and we'll pay for your housing. So then that right there just made it so much harder for the black man. It really did. The government fucked them. And I see why they blame white people, because the government was mostly white. But the fact of the matter is, it's not all whites. It was the rich and the elites. Like a lot of the Congress people, those are the ones that have done all this shit. That's how I take it.
Because again, I'm Black American, and that was not my lived experience in the United States of America. But obviously, I'm stating what I am stating is in fact anecdotal evidence, right? So I'm only giving you my specific experience, not the experience of any other individual at all here in this context. But bro, I'm thinking that's exactly what it is. All right, you have a grandmother teaching another, teaching all the kids, the sons, the father.
Notice he keeps saying grandmother. And like I said, that runs off of emotions. So the grandmother teaches the daughter, then the daughter teaches the son, and so forth. And it becomes all emotional. A lot of these gangs, not all by no means, I ain't saying that. I'm saying a lot of the beefs started over emotions, whether it be over some chick that slept with the dude and the other one. That was an emotional reaction. Somebody got hit, and then now it's a back and forth from then on. But if some people, especially when it comes to females, when that happens, a lot of dudes lose their cool and go do something. If their emotions wasn't there, it would have never happened. I don't know, man. I'm going to stop pausing it for you guys so this video ain't an hour long, and I'm going to just let it go, and I'm going to try to keep my mouth shut. This is a hot topic for me, and not necessarily the black fatigue, but just the entirety of it all.
Everyone is teaching the same thing that they knew basically from 100 plus years ago. Things were better, in fact, kind of before... let's say the 50s, let's say.
That's what I just said.
Households and families where you actually had the ability to kind of come up a little bit. But guys, we have to understand that there's a difference in terms of this argument. This argument is very flawed here. You're talking about people who willfully came here versus people who didn't, right?
But the thing is, about the ones that didn't willfully come here, would you have rather went to Iran or Iraq? Or would you have rather stayed enslaved? And you know what they did to the ones that they kept there. They wasn't around very long. So would you have rather come to what ended up being the best country in the world? Or would you have rather been out in a desert? Or would you have rather them just off your people? Because the big tribe took over the smaller tribe and then sold them. Would you have rather went to a nation of sand and heat, or come here to what turned into be the best country in the world? Whether you wanted to or not, the choices you had, America was the best one to do. It was. That's why it's still the best.
When they arrived, but they worked hard and became successful and rich and well-adjusted citizens. So why is it that the African community has remained in poverty for...
Because the government sat there and did that to them. They wasn't like that. The government did it to them. And then you grow up that way without having to work and still get you got a place to live. You can tear it completely up and then get another one and another one. So you learn not to take care of shit. You know damn well if you go buy yourself a pair of shoes or you go buy your car, you ain't gonna let no one smoke in the car. You ain't gonna let someone put dents in it. None of that's happened if you pay for it. If you ain't paid for it, it's a lot easier to just let it go. And that's another thing that was taught due to the government.
50 years. We built nice new apartment buildings that quickly became high crime ghettos.
Yeah.
Want to get an...
Are you joking, bro?
Built nice new apartment buildings that quickly became high crime ghettos.
Well, not saying everyone that lives in them wants it to do that, but for the majority, like I have actually wired houses for Habitat for Humanity that all get sold at these amazingly low prices to people that can't afford them. And meanwhile, I can't even get a place to rent. I mean, that's rough. I'm doing a skilled trade and I can't even get a house. But if you were of a certain race, you could get the house. I always thought that was messed up. The whole race thing, the government fucked people, man. I'm going to put that's my main thing. The government did this. This was done intentionally through the government. It was a big experiment. And the government has sat back and watched and watched and watched and learned. Look at the Democrats, all the stuff that's coming out that they've been doing.
Ghettos.
Okay.
Want to get an education on what's happening in Black America? Get on the internet and type in brawls. Restaurant brawls.
Yeah, I've
shopping
seen those.
center brawls.
Oh, no, he's
fast
right.
food
No, he's
brawls.
right.
Now, Disney. I seen the Disney one where it was like, I don't know how many families it was, but good God, I'm glad I wasn't there.
Right. Wait.
And look at what you see in those videos.
Again, it's his delivery that's
It's
a
not
little
the
like.
Germans or the
But the thing is, man, that's what I was saying at the very beginning of the video. A lot of people are fed up. And I think a lot of it has to do with all the illegals coming through, pushed it where it happened even faster. But it's like, look, there's no point in sugarcoating it. Someone's always going to twist or they're going to try to angle it a certain way. So he's just saying it how it is, except the whole thing about they came here. Now, yeah, some came, but also others were brought here. The thing is, this is one thing that everyone needs to open their eyes up to. If everything didn't happen the way it happened, you wouldn't be alive today, because more than likely their ancestors would have never met each other, because one, they might have been from different tribes. Two, if you don't have sex at that time, then, well, the sperm isn't going to go to the egg. Not the same sperm, so it'll be a different person, and boom, everything's changed. So that's one thing that needs to be put out there. If history didn't happen the way it is, there's a very high probability you would not even have ever existed. So be thankful, even though there was some wrong done and shitty stuff done, but if it didn't happen the way it happened, you would not be alive.
the Italians who are turning public places into savage mass fistfights. And it's not the Australians who are walking the streets looking to beat the hell.
Now, the mafia did exist, but it was a different time, different thing, and it was organized crime.
Out of some pedestrian simply for having white skin. And it's not the Vietnamese who are burning and looting American cities.
That's one thing I've seen, man. All of the riots from 2020, 21, 22, 23, all of them. They're going in these gas stations. They got 50 cars in the parking lot after they did donuts out in the street. Then they all just walk out like they own the place. And that is something that was taught due to the government giving them something free and then not having to have any respect for anyone that gave it to you. And then you just think you got the right because someone owes you something. You were never a slave. You was not a slave. You got the opportunity. That's what, that does make me mad. These Democrats up in power, the black ones, the ones that are on TV, sitting there saying, oh, we don't get this and this. It's like, motherfucker, you're on national TV making how many millions a year, but you're oppressed. But yet, the white man gets blamed for every single thing. Most keep going to work and doing what they got to do to get by and don't want no one to salute them for it. We're just doing our own thing, going on about life.
And it's not the Russians who are fighting with and sometimes killing our police officers. Now, there are, of course, honorable and respectable men like Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas and Dr. Ben Carson.
Yeah, but there's plenty of them. It's just, like I'd say Stephen Knight, Officer Tatum. They're everywhere. But the bad ones give a rap for the whole group. And even the blacks are tired of that. They hate being lumped in with these sorry lowlifes over here. And I know they do too. Just like I get lumped in, white supremacy. And it's like, why would I get lumped in? I ain't done shit. But that's how this world does. Like, the worst ones out of the bunch set the tone for everybody else.
Carson. These men are extremely successful and at the pinnacle of their possessions. But for some inexplicable reason, they are hated and ridiculed by the black community as if their success...
That's the Democrats doing that. The Democrats have got them hating them. They call them Uncle Toms and this and that, even though Uncle Tom ain't necessarily a slur at all.
...is somehow a betrayal of their race.
Yeah.
Now, I do know that Mr. B. Lloyd here, or I always want to say B. Lloyd, but it's Boyd. But anyhow, I know he says, because you know he talks, if you heard him on the phone, you wouldn't assume he's black just for the way he speaks, the way he acts. He doesn't act ghetto. I've heard other people say that.
Like my grandmother always used to say, like you under no circumstance really want to partake too deeply within the culture of the masses. Basically, if the masses like it, go against it. And that's what my grandmother basically taught me when I was young. Like, understand this to the depth of me here. If the entire culture loves it,
walk away from it.
Never. And it specifically is what she said, Black America, guys. So that's the reality of the situation here. He's not wrong here. The people that he did mention there, they are absolutely at the top of their career. They are great members of society. They're not walking around bragging about criminality, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're not doing these things. And again, if this is what he means by black fatigue, his delivery is terrible. Right, but sometimes you kind of need these terrible deliveries.
Exactly.
To get the point across here. He's just being pure logical, and I respect the concept of it again, because he's speaking how I'm not sure I've ever heard anyone speak. I'm just going to be completely honest here. Not on the internet.
Well, yeah, because everyone's afraid to get canceled. And like one of my other videos I did, I said, well, I ain't made it nowhere to be canceled yet. And I mean, maybe one day I will be canceled for something, but I doubt it. Because, dude, I can speak my opinion. That's all I can tell you is what I think. And you can't shut me up about it. I mean, there's some things that do irritate me in life. I got to hurry up my dogs.
This man is sick of it. I agree, though, bro. I'm sick of it, too. I don't like the fact...
There's a lot of black people that are tired of it. They're tired of the whole thing. Let me let my dogs
for example,
out, guys.
I walk into a room, right? And the rest of the culture follows me, if that makes any sense. Until generally I start speaking and things are understood slightly different, let's say. But yeah, I'm not a fan of it neither, bro. I'm telling you this right now. I don't like it. I don't like none of it. I don't like any type of ghetto hood mentality type of things. I'm not a fan, bro. I'm just gonna be honest. It's not me, and I think personally a lot of my kind of outlook on life kind of changed as I went through my journey of chasing UNESCO World Heritage sites around the world, guys. I had to escape the grips, let's say, of the attractiveness of like the hood type culture. I can't explain it. It's attractive, but I don't want it.
Men like Carson and Thomas should be held up as role models and emulated, not hated and criticized.
They're always going to be hated.
America is suffering.
You need to find a way to be able, and it's not just the black family. We need to find a way to get men back into the families, because you keep raising boys without their dad there, it's going to cause a shitty world. It's going to be hell, because you're going to have a bunch of dudes running off with strict emotions. Like little bitches. Every little thing, they're going to get offended by it. And that's not what this world's about. Like, dude, I've worked jobs for years and I would hate it. But I did it because it had to be done. You can't let your emotions get in the way. You know how many times I wanted to swing on my boss, man? Whew! But I'd have to bite my tongue, be quiet, and just go to work and just wait for the day to be over. And then before you know it, 10 years has went by.
Suffering from blackness fatigue, and that fatigue is slowly but surely becoming a boiling rage.
Yeah, and then what happens? And that's another thing. Now that Doge has found all these like people that aren't even alive catching Social Security and stuff. Some of them hadn't been born yet. Some of them have been dead for years. What is our race percentage? because every time I go out here in North Carolina, in central North Carolina, bro, I hardly ever see a white person. Like when I'm driving and I look over, it's usually a Hispanic or a black person. It's very rare to come across white people like that. And for us to be like 80% of the country, I don't think so. I think that they got a whole bunch of people in the system that aren't really there that is raising our percentage. And then there's a whole bunch of illegals that are not there, which switches the percentage again. So I think they really need to find a way to do, to find out. Because honestly, I think it's more like 40, 60, 40, okay, 40, 50, 10, or I say 30, 20, 50. Whites being 50. But I guess that's in Kansas, in the middle of the country. I don't know where it's at, because it's not in the big cities. It's not here in North Carolina. I don't know where all the whites are at, but they ain't flocking around like we're 80% of the country.
Even the friendliest dog will bite if you kick him long enough.
Yeah,
and
that's
where
true.
White America is today.
That's what I'm kind of worried about, because if we really are 80% of the country and that boiling point does get hit, it's going to get bad, because every white person I know, they all go hunting. They all got rifles. They all know how to shoot. They know what they're doing. And I've seen some black YouTubers. I can't remember the names right now. Or I was watching some black YouTubers and it was other black people talking about, they be out there practicing, shooting at targets and hunting. Meanwhile, what you doing? Shooting sideways. Or you ain't got one. It's going to get ugly if it ever does it. And I pray and hope that it never does. I just want the illegals out. Come here legally. I don't care. We should be the richest country in the world. We shouldn't have to work ourselves to death. I wish they would make it to where once you put in 25 years of work, you can retire. Because, dude, I've been working since I was 16. I've worked. And I'm about to be 45. And I'm tired, man. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of working. And I know a lot of you are too. And I wish there was a way that they could make it. Because, dude, for about 10 years of my life, I worked 2 jobs. Barely getting by, paying child support and all this and that just to be able to get my rent paid. I wish.
Today, there's a showdown coming. There is no
I
more
hope
we
not.
can give. We're done apologizing for a
Thing is, why are we giving? We ain't done nothing. It wasn't us and it wasn't you. Why do you deserve it? That was already done.
imaginary violations. And
I mean, you would have thought the people that were actual slaves, once they were freed, they would have, if they didn't get what they wanted, they would have had a big uprising about it. Which they may have. I just hadn't really heard anything about it. I know they didn't get 40 acres and a mule. I get that. But you got to think, a lot of black families that I know all got 6 kids each. So you do that for 50 years, 100 years. You have 5, 6 kids. You've already quintupled the population. Because the population of blacks back whenever they were freed from slavery, it wasn't 13%. But yeah, that would have to be divided up. If they did get 40 acres and a mule, you'd have about 8 feet by 8, probably a 4 by 4 foot and maybe a toenail off a damn donkey.
And we're done surrendering to black racism. There's a showdown coming, and it's going to get ugly.
Okay.
I hope not.
So
I have a feeling the showdown, me personally, would be the whites and blacks versus the illegals. That's one thing I see. Because when 9/11 happened, we come together. And when they started coming across that border, the illegals, all my neighbors, they're Hispanic. They're all Hispanic. They're here legally. Anyhow, Anyhow, I would see the blacks and whites getting together and getting rid of the racists or the illegals before I see whites versus blacks. Because if it really is 80% to 13%, that's not there's no chance. It's just not.
Okay, wait a second. Hold on. He definitely. Let me tell you how I hear this man. I hear what he's saying here. He's obviously, he's outraged, and I'm going to go ahead and attribute some of the things that he's saying specifically towards the end here as he's just outraged, right? Because again, that it's interesting, to say the least, how he's saying it. Again, I'm not a super fan of his delivery, but again, his delivery is his delivery.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, he's just telling the point.
Specifically, seem to be pretty. I can imagine how you're sick and tired of like ghetto
No, we're tired of being blamed.
Culture on Earth.
Yeah, but we're tired of being blamed for everything. If it's such a bad thing that we did, why is it every first world country that was colonized by whites, why is it that's where all the illegals are going? From Africa, from Asia, from South America. They're overflowing in Britain, Germany, France. They're just flooding in. But it's so bad. But look at what they made. It's so great. Let's go live there. No, if it's so bad, go to the third world countries that are not colonized and fucking live there and enjoy it. You won't, but try.
Is this culture, okay? Like violent, unnecessarily violent. Women, wearing basically nothing in public and proud.
True.
Right. Lack of fathers in the households, guys.
That's what I said.
I hear what you're saying, bro. If you're sick of it, imagine I'm probably sick. I'm more. Sick
I know
of it
he
than
is.
You. I've already. Seen
it's just like I said, like. I'm white and Cherokee, but I get lumped in with the white privilege and this and that, and I'm tired of hearing it. So I know when it comes to something ghetto or something and he gets lumped in with it, I know he's tired of it. I'm about to go fix my cat real quick. I'm going to let this play for you guys.
He said in numerous videos on the internet, like, if you make me president for one day, I'm going straight for the ghetto. I'm telling you, I'm going straight for the ghetto. The hoods, all of that type of stuff. I have a natural aversion to it, and it's all rooted in the fact that when I walk into a room, that nonsense is what's perceived of me generally before I even say anything. Okay, like you're making.
I swear, my dogs will lay down and be asleep all day long until I try to do a video. Then they start acting stupid every time.
Everyone, the ones who don't care about, you're making all of us look bad, bro. All right, I'm fully aware we're not a monolith. Absolutely, we do have the ability to kind of think fluidly and on our own, guys. You get what I mean here? Not every single person is the same, guys. Right? But the problem is that there's so much of the 14% that absolutely loves and adheres to this ghetto, sexy red type of culture, guys.
Dude, these new rappers are trash. The last couple of new rappers I like would have to be DaBaby, Kevin Gates. Why is his name leaving me? He's from Tennessee. He's from Memphis. Oh, Moneybagg Yo. I like them, and I like never mind. This ain't a music video. Let me let him talk, and so we can finish this.
All right, I understand. I understand, bro. I'm not a fan of it, but bro, I can imagine how you're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
We're all sick and tired, bro.
Like off of when no one's around, I can listen to specifically how, Black Americans speak about white people. He's not wrong.
Yeah, there's a lot of them like that. Now, I don't know any of them personally, no. Because, all the ones I knew I grew up with, they're my homies. I've worked with a lot. And I ain't never had any of them treat me in a specific way. But I think the whole world is tired. I think a lot of people are getting fed up with being fed up. I think the wokeness, that whole rush, I'm woke, those people got people fed up to here. And they don't know what they started. like the whole damn transsexuals, the LGBTQ, A, B, C, D, E, F. Those motherfuckers pushed everybody to the limit. Blacks, whites, Asians, everybody. They don't know what they've started. They've actually set themselves back so far for the shit they've done. And they've got everyone fed up with dealing with stupid shit. And now people are kind of starting to lock on to each other. But I'm really hoping that a lot of us, the blacks and whites, come together. The racism needs to quit. The government needs to come out and say, we lied to y'all. This, and this. And tell the fucking truth. That'll squash a lot of it. But they won't. You know they won't. The elites don't want to let go of their power, and they don't want us not being divided. They want us to argue with each other while they do whatever they do. We can't let that happen. I ain't worried about no black man. I ain't worried about no Hispanic man. I ain't worried about nobody. But I'm going to watch the fucking government, man.
He's not wrong. Like, I mean, listen, he's not wrong. Then obviously in the comments are going to be all types of people who are saying, I've never said this. All right, bro, I hear you. Sure thing, bro, right? Like, that's not the case here, guys, right? So my wife has very, very light skin. She's from the south of Spain. She's more like an olive skin tone, right? South of Europe.
Yeah.
And I can definitely tell you the experiences that she specifically has encountered is also intriguing before they recognize that she's with me. Right. So I hear what he's saying also, but bro, I think everyone just talks about everyone. Okay, but
my saying is this, and I've said it forever, and I'll probably say it till I die. Everybody is racist to a point. I mean, if you bring in, just say someone says, yeah, what if you get kidnapped and they say you got to do this, and this. You got to pick a race. You're gonna eventually. You're gonna end up being racist somehow, some way. So I say everyone's racist. They may not be it on a daily thing, but there's a certain race that gets under their skin. And that's it. They may not act on it. They may not say nothing about it. I'm just saying, I think everyone has racism in them, but they're born that way. That's how it's been. We've been divided. My ancestors, one grew up here in what is now America, but they were Native Americans, and then the rest grew up in Europe. Then you got the blacks from Africa, and then you got the Hispanics. We were all separate. Then when they come together, they clashed. So deep down, a lot of people have I say everybody's got some racism in them somewhere. I'm done talking. Jeez.
I could give you more examples of nearly all of the, I would say a solid 80% of like black Americans solid that I have personally encountered have all said some craziness racially. You get what I'm saying here, guys.
And see, I mean, I know when I was growing up and younger, I remember there'd be some white guys that'd be like, man, I ain't gonna date no girl that used to date a black guy. That's just how they were. Me personally, I didn't give a shit. You know, I don't care. But yeah, that's the only thing I can say I ever heard growing up. I haven't heard it in 15 years, 20 years. I mean, I'm in my 40s now, so it ain't like I'm running around dating a lot. Like I do, but I don't hang around dudes, so I ain't gonna hear it because I don't trust dudes at all. Just don't.
Now, the attacking of specifically Asians, I don't understand where that came from.
I don't either. I'm lost.
I could definitely tell you right now that the most, without a doubt, the singularly most like racist experiences I've ever had were with East Asians. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, if you listen to the culture, right? You'll start to realize that they absolutely have a natural aversion specifically to dark skin. Okay, so just understand that it's like baked into the culture.
And then you got what's his face? Oh God, dude that's looking at 31 years in South Korea, South Korea. The not an influencer, but that's what he thought he was. But yeah, he's looking at like 30 some years in Korean prison. So I'm assuming that's East Asia, and he's black. So yeah, he gonna get it. He just keeps fucking that up.
All right, it's baked in.
Yeah, that's what I was saying
I can
earlier.
imagine again why there are some black people who are sick of that. And I have no idea the exact instance he's talking about. I don't know any stories or anything.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know of any blacks that are around Asians. Like here on the East Coast of America, like growing up, I almost got to date a couple of Asians. It was like when I was 18, 19. Other than that, there really wasn't many over here. There might be now, but I don't know where they're at, because if they're so and they're single and they're my age and look good, I try to date them. I've always thought Asians were sexy, but not many on the East Coast. As far as I know, they're mostly Midwest and West Coast. But I didn't know blacks and Asians had beef with each other at all, and I didn't know it was the white man's fault on top of that. I had no fucking clue. I say it's the government and it's the people with power.
Or anything like that. I haven't seen any news coverage or anything like that regarding it. But I can imagine how there are some black people who are just like, okay. Right. I can imagine that. Not warranting it, not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. It was a bad thing. Keep your hands off of people. If someone doesn't like you, bro, you don't have to be around them. The reality. Right. But within my travels, specifically working for a company that I cannot mention on the internet, right? But it's a company that you travel and look at landmarks and see people and things like that, photograph people in like small villages and things like that. Either way, but the amount of like, oh, where's your tail? Okay, in Asia that I've experienced was my tail, bro, my tail.
Talking about monkey.
All right, East Asia. Thank you for that one. Now I have a memory, I have a full memory. All right, that I'm basically latching onto right now to explain to you that it's East Asia. I think it's Asia in general though, because I had similar experiences in India. Right, so just understand it's Asia in general. If you want to talk about the most racist people towards black people on this planet are Asians.
Really?
Not everyone,
Didn't know
obviously,
that.
but that's where it is. That's where my biggest experience.
And that's because they don't have a lot of people flooding through their borders illegally, so they've all been together growing up just strictly Asian. They're not used to seeing any whites. They're not used to seeing blacks. And I'm sure they probably are racist. And I had seen where a black guy went to China and they were like treating him different, but I didn't. Their language is different. He tried to translate it to English, but it didn't work out. Anyhow, guys, please go check him out. If you would, I'll have the link and everything down in the description. I'm going to go ahead and go in this. It ain't got but a couple of seconds left. I'll let it play. But please, let me know what you would like for me to react to. And in the comments, tell me what you think about anything I said. Or this whole conversation.
And along with like my my assistant, and it's Asia. Most. And guys, I live half the year in Europe.
Yeah.
Okay, so just understand, like I'm just trying to express this to you. I think
Asia's
it's definitely Asia. All around Europe, people are just like blah, whatever. Live your life, bro. All right, but either way, listen, guys, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I am absolutely in full understanding of what he's saying here. If you're sick of it, bro, I'm more sick of it.
Yep.
Okay.
Same here, guys. So let me know what you guys think in the comment. Let me know what you want me to react to, and I will hop right on it. I hope y'all all have a blessed day, wonderful night, whatever it may be. I will catch y'all on the next